Ryan was a young man with everything. At just 27, he owned 2 companies, drove shiny cars, and lived in a tall glass house that looked over the city. People admired him, and many wanted to be like him. But Ryan was also proud, maybe. Too proud. He believed there was nothing he couldn't do. One evening, Ryan sat in a fancy restaurant with his 2 friends, Mark and Leo. They were laughing, drinking juice, and talking about how easy life was when you had money. "I could marry anyone I want," Ryan said with a confident smile. Leo raised an eyebrow. "Anyone? Even a poor girl on the street?" Ryan chuckled. "Of course. I could take a girl with nothing and turn her into something amazing. I bet I could marry a homeless girl and she would fall for me in a week." Mark laughed loudly. "You're crazy, man." But Leo leaned forward, interested. "Let's make it a real bet," he said. "Find a homeless girl, marry her. Stay with her for 1 month. If she doesn't leave you by then, we'll say you win." Ryan looked out the window. It was a silly idea, but something inside him said yes. Maybe it was the challenge. Maybe it was pride. He nodded slowly. "Deal." The next day, Ryan went out in simple clothes. No suit, no bodyguards, no car. He walked the streets near the train station, where many people sat asking for food or money. He didn't know what he was looking for until he saw her. A girl was sitting quietly on the corner, hugging an old bag. Her hair was a bit messy, but her face was calm. Her clothes were worn, but her eyes had something special strength. She wasn't begging. She was just sitting as if she was waiting for something. Ryan walked closer. "Hi," he said softly. She looked up slowly. "Hi. I'm Ryan. What's your name?" She hesitated, then said, "Mira." Ryan smiled. "Would you like something to eat?" Myra looked at him carefully. "Why?" "Because you look like you haven't eaten today," he answered. She gave a small nod. "All right." They walked to a nearby food stall. Ryan bought 2 sandwiches and a bottle of water. They sat on a bench and ate quietly. "You live here?" he asked. "For now," she replied. "Do you have family?" "No." They sat in silence for a while. Then Ryan asked, "Do you believe in second chances?" Mira looked at him. "Only when they're real." Ryan cleared his throat. "This may sound strange, but would you marry me?" Mira blinked. "What? I know it's sudden, but I can offer you a place to live, food, just for a month. No tricks, just a simple deal. After that, you're free to go." Mira stared at him. She didn't laugh or get angry. She just asked, "Why?" Ryan didn't answer the full truth. He just said, "Maybe I want to help. Maybe I want to see if people can change." Mira stood up. "If you're joking, I leave." "I'm not," he said quickly. "Come with me, just for a week. If you don't like it, you can walk away." She looked at him again. Then slowly she nodded. "Okay, I'll come. But I don't want your pity." "You won't get it," he promised. That night, Mira walked into Ryan's world of soft beds, warm baths, and quiet halls. She didn't say much, but she didn't complain either. Ryan's friends thought it was a game. But Ryan started to notice something strange. Mira didn't care about money. She didn't try to impress anyone. She just helped the cook in the kitchen, folded her own clothes, and read old books from the library. She wasn't like anyone he had met before. And that was the beginning of the surprise. Ryan thought the first week would be funny. He believed Mira would be shocked by the big house, the shiny floors, and the soft pillows. He imagined she would ask for jewelry, clothes, and money. But none of that happened. On her second day in the house, Mira woke up early. She helped the housekeeper clean the hallway without anyone asking her. She didn't act like a guest. She acted like someone who respected the place. Ryan watched her from the stairs. She was sweeping the floor carefully, her hair tied back. She looked peaceful, even in silence. "You don't have to do that," Ryan said as he came down. I No, Myra replied, but I like staying busy. Most people would just enjoy the comfort. I'm not most people, she said simply. That answer stayed in Ryan's head for the whole day. Later, Ryan took Myra to buy some clothes. He thought she would be excited, maybe even overwhelmed. The shop was full of dresses, shoes, and bright lights. You can choose whatever you want, Ryan said. Myra looked around slowly. She touched a few dresses, then picked 2 simple ones and a pair of flat shoes. Just these? Ryan asked, surprised. I don't need more, Myra said. Too many things become a weight. A weight? Yes, the more you carry, the harder it is to move forward. Ryan had never thought like that before. For him, more was always better. But Myra seemed to live by different rules. When they returned home, Ryan's friends called him. Still going with the plan? Mark laughed on the phone. Yes, Ryan replied. Is she acting like a queen yet? No, Ryan said, thinking. She's different. Leo joined the call. Don't forget the deal, 1 month. After that, she's out. Ryan didn't answer that part. The next day, Ryan had to attend a business meeting. Before he left, he saw Myra sitting in the garden, reading a book. She looked like she belonged there, not because of her clothes or hair, but because of the calm way she held herself. When Ryan came back in the evening, he found the kitchen full of soft smells. Myra had cooked dinner. The chef stood nearby. Smiling, she helped me, the chef said. She's a fast learner. Ryan sat down at the table. The food was simple rice, vegetables, and warm bread, but it tasted like something made with care. You didn't have to do this, Ryan told her. I wanted to, Myra replied. Why? Because I live here now. I should give something back. Ryan didn't know what to say. He had brought Myra into his life as a joke, a challenge. But she was turning out to be someone far more real than he expected. That night, Ryan looked at his life. He had all the money, but none of his. Other guests or even friends had ever made the house feel warm. Myra, without even trying, had changed something. The next morning, something unexpected happened. Ryan's assistant rushed in and said, Sir, someone posted a photo of you and Myra. The media's talking about your marriage. Ryan was shocked. How did they find out? Maybe one of your friends. They tagged you online. Now people were calling Myra the mystery girl. News articles said things like Millionaire Marries street girl, and who is she? Ryan was worried Myra would be upset. But when he showed her the news, she just smiled slightly. They're curious, she said. But they don't know. Me, you're not scared? He asked. No, I've faced worse than gossip. Ryan looked at her again. This girl, who once slept on cold pavement, was now stronger than anyone he knew. The bet had started as a game, but now Ryan was starting to wonder who was really learning something from this. And what would happen when the 1 month was over? The next few days were not quiet. After the photo of Ryan and Myra went online, the news spread fast. Newspapers, websites, and even TV channels began showing Myra's face. Some people were curious. Others were cruel. How can a girl from the Fayan street marry a millionaire? One headline read. Did he lose a bet? Another joked. Ryan's phone kept buzzing. People he hadn't spoken to in months were suddenly calling. Some laughed. Some warned him, Ryan, this could hurt your name. One businessman said, You better clear this mess, said another. But Ryan didn't feel angry. He felt confused. That morning, he walked into the living room and found Myra sitting quietly, a newspaper open on the table in front of her. Her face was calm, but her eyes were thoughtful. You saw it? Ryan asked. Myra nodded. Yes, it doesn't bother me. Ryan sat across from her. It bothers me. Why? She asked. Because they don't know you. They talk like you're nothing. Myra gave a small smile. I've been called worse. You don't deserve this. I don't need the world to clap for me. I just want to live honestly. Ryan looked at her for a long time. She wasn't afraid of the words people threw. She didn't argue. She didn't cry. She simply stood like a tree in strong wind still, but unshaken. That evening, Ryan's friends visited. Mark and Leo came over with jokes and fake smiles. "So the bet's making headlines now," Mark said, laughing. "Did you expect it? To blow up like this?" Leo added. Ryan stayed quiet. Mira walked in with tea for the guests. She placed the cups gently on the table and nodded politely. Leo looked her up and down. "You're handling all this pretty well." Mira met his eyes. "People talk. It's what they do," Mark smirked. "You've got confidence. I'll give you that." After the two left, Ryan stood at the window. He didn't laugh with them. He didn't feel like a winner. He turned to Myra. "I'm sorry for how they spoke." "It's fine," she said softly. "I don't need to prove myself to them." "You're stronger than I expected," he said. She smiled. When life pushes you down, you either break or learn to stand taller. For the first time, Ryan wondered what had she been through before meeting him. He had never asked. The next day, Mira went to the library in the house. She spent hours there reading books about science, planets, and history. Ryan watched her from the hallway. "You like space stuff?" he asked. She said, "It reminds me how small problems are. The universe is huge. We're just a moment in time." Ryan smiled. "You're full of surprises." Mira looked at him seriously. "You think just because I was homeless, I couldn't have a brain?" Ryan looked down, embarrassed. "No, I mean, maybe I thought that at first, but I was wrong." She nodded. "Most people judge what they see, but we are more than our clothes or homes." That night, Ryan couldn't sleep. He kept thinking about what she said. Mira wasn't just smart, she was wise. She had lived through pain but still walked with grace. She had nothing, yet she gave everything. Ryan thought about the bet. It had started as a joke. But now, he wasn't sure anymore. Was he playing a game, or was something real starting to grow? The month wasn't over yet, but something inside Ryan had already begun to change. The days moved quietly, but not slowly. Ryan began waking up earlier just to see what Mira was doing. Sometimes she was reading in the garden. Sometimes she was in the kitchen helping with breakfast. She never sat idle. She never asked for anything. Every day, Ryan found something new about her. She laughed softly when she saw birds playing in the fountain. She cried quietly while reading a sad story in the library. She noticed small things like when the cook was tired or the flowers needed water. Ryan had been around rich people all his life, but none of them had the heart Mira had. One afternoon, Ryan took Mira to a charity dinner. It was a formal event: suits, dresses, music, and cameras. He wasn't sure if she would feel comfortable, but she agreed to go. Mira wore a simple white dress. Her hair was tied back and she wore no jewelry. Still, when she walked in, people turned to look. "Is that her?" Someone whispered. "Yes, the girl from the street," another said. Ryan stayed close to her side. At their table, a few guests smiled politely, but most didn't speak to her. Some gave cold glances. One woman even leaned over and said, "You're very brave to come here." Mira smiled gently. "It takes more courage to live on the street than to stand in a hall." The woman didn't reply. After dinner, Ryan asked, "Are you okay?" Mira nodded. "I've been through worse. But thank you for asking." "You handled them better than I did," Ryan admitted. "You can't change everyone," she said, "but you can stay true to yourself." Later that night, back at home, Ryan sat with Mira on the balcony. The sky was full of stars. A light breeze moved through the trees. "Do you ever miss your old life?" he asked. "I miss my mother," she said. "She died when I was 16. After that, life was not easy." Ryan listened quietly. "I tried to study, I tried to work. But Life kept pushing me down. I slept in shelters. Some nights I didn't eat, but I never let it break me. Ryan looked at her, surprised. She had never told him this before. "You're brave," he said. "No," Mira said. "I just didn't give up." There was a long silence. Then Ryan spoke again. "I need to tell you something." Mira looked at him. "What is it?" He hesitated. His heart beat faster. "When I first met you, it wasn't because I wanted to help." She stayed quiet, watching him. "I made a bet with my friends. They said I couldn't marry a homeless girl and make it work for a month. I said I could." Mira didn't move. She didn't speak for a moment. Ryan quickly added, "But now I regret that. I didn't expect you to be. You changed everything. I'm sorry." Mira looked down at her hands. Her face was unreadable. "So I was part of a game," she said softly. "At first, yes," Ryan admitted. "But not anymore. I swear." She stood up slowly. "Thank you for telling me the truth." Ryan also stood. "I understand if you're angry." "I'm not angry," Myra said. "I'm just sad. I thought we were becoming something real." "We are," he said. She looked at him. "Then prove it." "How?" "Tell your friends the bet is over. Tell them I'm not part of a joke. If you really care, don't hide it." Ryan nodded. "I will." Mira walked away quietly. That night, Ryan didn't sleep. He thought about the bet, the lie, and how much he had hurt someone who didn't deserve it. But he also knew one thing for sure now. This was no longer a game. He wanted Mira to stay not for the bet, not for pride, but because she made his world better. And now, he had to earn her trust. The next morning, Ryan stood in front of the mirror, feeling heavier than ever before. The truth was out. Mira now knew about the bet. And even though she didn't shout or walk away, her silence had hurt more than any words could. He had to make things right. He picked up his phone and called Mark and Leo. "Meet me at the cafe near the office." 1 hour. When Ryan arrived, his two friends were already there, sipping coffee and laughing. "So," Mark said, "did she finally find out?" Ryan sat down, his face serious. "Yes, and I'm done." Leo frowned. "Done?" "There is no more bet," Ryan said. "I told her the truth. And now I want you both to stay out of it." Mark raised an eyebrow. "You're joking, right? We didn't think you'd actually care." "Well, I do," Ryan replied. "I made a mistake. And I'm trying to fix it." Leo leaned back. "So this is real now?" Ryan nodded. "Yes, I respect her more than anyone I've met. She's strong, smart, and kind. I didn't expect that. But now I see it clearly." Mark shook his head. "You've changed, man." "Maybe I needed to," Ryan said, standing up. "And if you're really my friends, you'll respect that." He walked away, feeling lighter for the first time in days. Back at the house, Mira was in the garden. She was watering the plants slowly, one by one. Her face was calm, but her eyes still held a shadow of pain. Ryan approached quietly. "Mira," he said softly. She turned but didn't speak. "I told them," he said. "Mark and Leo, I ended it. I told them the bet is over, and that this is no game." Mira looked at him. "Good, but that doesn't fix everything." "I know," Ryan said. "That's why I want to earn your trust back. Not with money, not with gifts, just with truth." She looked into his eyes. "I believe people can change, but it takes time." "I'm ready to wait," Ryan said, "as long as you need." For the next few days, Ryan gave her space. He didn't push. He didn't ask for her attention. But he stayed close, quietly helping in the background. He joined her in the kitchen, even when he didn't know how to cook. He sat with her in the library, reading books she liked. He even helped her take care of the garden. One evening, while they sat watching the sunset, Mira finally spoke. "You're different now," she said. Ryan smiled. "Because of you." She turned to him. "Why did you really make that bet?" Ryan sighed. "I thought I was proving something. That I had power, that I could control anything. But I was wrong. I didn't understand people. I didn't understand you. Mira looked at the sky. You had everything. And still felt empty? Yes, he said quietly. I had nothing, Myra said. But I learned to carry hope. They both sat in silence for a while. Finally, Mira whispered, I'm still here. That means I'm willing to try. Ryan looked at her with gratitude. Thank you. From that day on, their connection became real. No lies, no bets. Just two people learning to trust and understand each other. Mira began sharing more about her past, about the small town she grew up in, the day her mother died, and how she ended up in the city with no one to turn to. Ryan listened carefully, never interrupting. He shared his own story too. His lonely childhood in a big house, his busy parents, and how he chased success because he thought it would fill the emptiness inside him. In their honesty, they found something rare. Respect. Mira smiled more now. And Ryan laughed in a way he hadn't in years, but deep inside, Ryan knew something else. The month was almost over, and a new decision had to be made. The last day of the month arrived with quiet air and soft clouds. Ryan stood near the window, watching the sky. It had been 30 days since Myra entered his life, and everything had changed. He could barely remember the man he was before. That man chased pride, made jokes about serious things, and didn't understand the value of another person's heart. Now he understood. Downstairs, Mira was sitting at the dining table, sipping tea and looking at a small calendar. Ryan came and sat beside her. So, she said gently, today is the last day of the deal. Ryan nodded. Yes, the month is over. Silence filled the space between them. You're free to leave, Myra, Ryan said, though the words hurt. That was the agreement. Mira looked at him, her eyes steady. Do you want me to go? Ryan shook his head. No, I don't want that. But I don't want you to stay because of some promise or out of pity. Mira smiled softly. You're not the same man who made the bet. Ryan looked down. I wish I never made it. Maybe, Myra said, but if you hadn't, we wouldn't be here. She stood up and walked to the window. Before you, I had no roof, no one to talk to, and no one who cared. You changed that, even if it started the wrong way. Something real grew from it. Ryan stepped closer. So what happens now? Myra turned and looked at him. You tell me. I want you to stay, Ryan said. Not as a guest. Not as part of the deal, but as someone I care about, someone I respect. Mira smiled. Then stop saying it like I'm a choice. Let me decide for myself. Ryan paused, then nodded. All right. What do you want, Mira? She walked back to him, her voice calm but clear. I want a real chance, no lulls. I want to know if what we've found is strong enough to build a future on. Ryan smiled for the first time that morning. Then let's start fresh. The next few weeks were peaceful and honest. Ryan told the media to stop talking about the bet. He admitted publicly that he had made a mistake and praised Mira for her strength and dignity. People were surprised, but many respected him more for speaking the truth. Some called it a scandal. Others called it a lesson, but Ryan didn't care. He had learned what truly mattered. He and Mira began doing things together, not as part of a deal, but as real partners. They visited shelters, gave food to people in need, and helped others find jobs and safety. One day, they visited a women's center where Myra had once slept for 2 nights during a storm. As she stood there, surrounded by people with tired faces and hopeful eyes, Mira held Ryan's hand and whispered, This is where I come from, but it's not where I'm staying. Ryan squeezed her hand. We'll build something better, together. That night, back at home, Ryan brought out a small box. Mira looked at it with a curious smile. What's this? She asked. He opened the box. Inside was a simple necklace, nothing fancy, just a silver chain with a tiny star. I wanted to give you something, Ryan said. Not to buy your love, but to thank you for teaching me what real strength is. Mira touched the necklace gently. It's beautiful. Thank you. There's something written on the back, he said. She turned it over and read the small words. Begin again. Mira looked at Ryan, her eyes warm. That's what we're doing, isn't it? He nodded. Yes, a new beginning. For both of us. And for the first time since the bet began, they both felt free, not bound by the past, but standing at the door of something new, something real. The days after the new beginning felt like waking from a long sleep. Ryan and Mira were no longer bound by bets or doubts. They were simply two people trying to build a life together. Mira learned quickly about the world Ryan lived in. It was full of meetings, contracts, and endless decisions. She listened quietly, asking questions when she didn't understand. Ryan was patient, explaining things with simple words. At the same time, Ryan learned from Mira about a different kind of strength, one that did not come from money or power, but from kindness and courage. One morning, Mira suggested something surprising. Why don't we start a place to help people like me? She said. Ryan was quiet for a moment. What do you mean? A shelter. A place where homeless people can stay safe, learn new skills, and find jobs. Ryan smiled. That's a big idea. It's a good one, Mira said. And I know what they need. I've been there. Together, they started planning. Ryan used his connections and money. Mira talked to people who worked in shelters and community centers. Slowly, they built a team. The project took time, but every step felt right. Ryan was proud to see Mira lead meetings, speak confidently, and share her ideas. She wasn't just his wife anymore, she was a leader. Their shelter opened 3 months later. It was small at first, a few rooms, a kitchen, and a garden. But it was clean, warm, and full of hope. At the opening day, many people came. Some were curious. Some were struggling with their own lives. Mira stood in front of them and spoke. This place is for everyone who needs a second chance, she said. Because everyone deserves one. Ryan watched her, his heart full. The girl who had once sat alone on a street corner was now helping others find their way. One evening, after a long day, Ryan and Mira sat on the porch of their home. Do you ever think about how far we've come? Ryan asked. Mira smiled. Every day, but I also know there is more to do. Ryan nodded. I used to think money was the answer, but now I see it's only a tool. What matters is people. Mira reached for his hand, and people like us who want to help. Their life was not perfect. They had disagreements and moments of doubt, but they faced them together. Ryan was no longer the proud man who made a careless bet. He was someone who learned to listen and care. Mira was no longer just a homeless girl. She was a woman who changed a millionaire's heart and many others' lives. Weeks turned into months. The shelter grew, and so did their relationship. Ryan invited Mira to join his company's board of advisors. She accepted, eager to bring new ideas and kindness to a world that often forgot both. One day, during a board meeting, Mira spoke about a new program to help children of homeless families. Ryan smiled proudly. I never imagined this day. Mira looked at him. Neither did I. As they worked side by side, they built more than just projects. They built trust, respect, and love. The story of Ryan and Mira became an example, not because of their wealth or fame, but because they showed what happens when pride meets humility and when a simple bet turns into something beautiful. Ryan often thought about that first day. How a challenge meant to prove something foolish turned into the most important lesson of his life. He looked at Mira, sitting quietly beside him, and felt grateful. She had surprised him in every way, and now, together, they were ready for whatever came next.